Bienvenidos, señores y señores, and welcome to another Soccer Sanchez video. Euro 2024 has reached the semi-final stage, and England will take on the Netherlands in their quest to become European champions, hopefully for the first time in their history. Joining me to discuss the match, the one, the only, our man from Dam, it's Ley Petreli. How you doing, Ley?
Oh, fine. Thank you, Sanchez. It's a privilege to be on the show.
Excellent. Now, the last time we spoke, Ley, the Netherlands were taking on Turkey. You were worried you might not get sleep that night. As we know, the Netherlands came out 2-1 winners. Two late goals by the Dutch secured a win over Turkey. Turkey were very unlucky not to have got more from that game, possibly maybe even been able to take that game into extra time. But unfortunately for them, the Netherlands had enough and came through on that one. So, very briefly, Ley, how was that evening? Was the celebrations as hectic as you expected, or would it have been a lot more rowdy had the Turks
Well,
got their victory that day?
yeah, I would like to believe it would have been way more rowdy if the Turks got their victory. As you said, very unlucky to not get more from the game in terms of at least pushing it towards extra time or perhaps penalties. But then I guess credit to the Dutch in that regard. They were under a lot of pressure. We stood a lot of pressure, and came out winners. And of course, our next opponents in the much anticipated semi-finals.
What's been said in the Netherlands then about the team? Were they disappointed that the Netherlands kind of scraped
Mm.
through to beat Turkey, or what is the general consensus of the feeling behind this Dutch team this year?
Yeah, so I spent the first half of the tournament in England, and I've been back since I arrived on the day the Netherlands played Austria, where I think we lost 3-2. They lost 3-2, or was it 3-1, 3-2 or 3-1, I believe. And the general consensus has been the same even up until the semi-finals. Every time I ask, how's the team doing? They're proud of how far they've come, but they still think the team is weak, which is ironic because it's nearly the same back home for us in England as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's weird every time, and this is even before we thought we would play each other, and then even when it seemed we were going to play each other, everyone here was like, "Oh, we're going to lose to England. We're going to lose," and I was like, I'm quite astounded because the Dutch do have individual good players, and they even seem to play more as a unit than we do. So it's quite interesting. They're not looking forward to the game, to be fair. But I think it's a defense mechanism. Try and play humble and then see if they win it before they come out. So we'll see.
The English seem to be quietly confident, despite the fact that England have received a lot of criticism, and Southgate as well for his team selection and the way the team have played. There's a quiet confidence about the fact that
Okay.
England could still make that final because fans feel that England aren't playing to their best, but still going through every round. And the
Indeed.
Dutch kind of feeling the same way, where although they're not 100% convinced by this team, they still feel like they can pull something off to reach the final. Am I right in thinking?
Honestly, I think the only time I've seen the Dutch fans a bit more enthusiastic or enthused rather towards a game was the Turkey match last
Yeah.
week, the last Saturday. Every other time I've mentioned it, I'm like, oh, how the boys doing? Whatever. They're like, no, no, we're not good enough. No, we're not. This team's rubbish. Like that's the general consensus every time we speak. But of course, it's the same back home. And I also think it's also, you lower your expectations so you're not disappointed. And I think the more games they've won progress into the semis, such as like we have, they're quietly confident, but I think they're not going to brag about, unlike us back home. Look, even if we had the worst team, I don't care. It's coming home. And if it doesn't come home now, hopefully it will come home next time, right? So, but we'll see. We'll see. They are quietly confident as well, but openly, every time we speak, they're not too impressed with the squad now.
It's funny you say that because it does feel like there's a bit of negativity. Like you said,
Hmm.
it's almost like this is the worst team England could have, but with the best players. I don't know if that makes sense.
Weirdly enough, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good way
and
to
I
put
think
it.
that's why Gareth Southgate has been in such focus, and his tactical approach and his team
Hmm.
selection. Harry Kane even being called into question with this tournament, which no one would have thought would be the case before this tournament. But
Indeed.
with regards to England, they obviously came through their semi-final with a win over Switzerland on penalties. Switzerland
Hmm.
took the lead on 75 minutes, only for Bukayo Saka to equalise with a fantastic left-footed shot past Jürgen Sommer. England, surprisingly, are very confident on penalties. The last couple of occasions where they've had to contest that. The overall view of the game against Switzerland was pretty much the same as the other 4 games. A lot of possession, a lot of chances made. Not necessarily good chances, but it got to the point where many people questioned Switzerland's desire to win the game. And the reason they did that is because they sat back so much. But Switzerland's played their tactics very, very well, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they waited for the right opportunity. And in particular, and they talk about waiting for the last minute, that second half of extra time, England were really under the cosh. And to be honest with you, by the end of the game, England were very lucky not to have actually to have reached the penalties. What did you think of that England performance? Not convincing, but they're getting through each round by playing the minimum, really.
Yeah.
Do you think that's enough to overcome the Netherlands?
Well, that's a good question, because normally you would either expect the team to pick up or get exposed way before the semi-finals. But we keep plodding along, like you said, doing the bare minimum, but getting there. And as for the game on Saturday, honestly, yes, it was like the same England we've seen all tournament. The only difference was they seemed individually, certain players seemed a bit more, okay, let me try something. Like, even if it doesn't necessarily work, like, you could tell some players, like Cody Gakpo, for example. I remember a pass where he didn't even touch the ball and he went past 2 players. Like, he let it roll. You could tell the confidence in certain players started coming out a bit more. And it was nice to see Saka, for example. You could tell he broke rank with that goal. He was just like, you know what? Okay, forget this. Like, I'm taking a shot. I'm doing what I do for my club week in, week out.
You say broke rank, and I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. But what's disappointing is Saka, maybe Mainu, they seem to be the only 2 players carrying the ball. Everyone is pass, sideways, pass it in, pass, don't lose the ball. But the fact that, because Saka did it in the first game as well. In the group game, in the first game of the tournament, Saka was doing the same thing, just dribbling past the fullback and actually getting into spaces. But I just feel like it's such a rarity these days. Why is that?
I think we spoke, I think a few weeks ago, it's also this new system of football. Of course, the burden of the England shirt, that can't be discounted. But it's this new European way of playing, in my opinion, where it's just too systematic. Like, there's very little room for expression or creativity. And when someone does anything, it's like, oh, which is why I remember the Malen thing. It just stands out. Normally, that should happen every other game. Like, someone should just, like, be more fluid with the ball. And I think it's the systems. I don't know if you remember the Netherlands-France game where Rabiot was one-on-one with the keeper.
And they wanted to pass it. Yeah.
It seems to be, this weird way of football where dribbling is a rarity, and creativity or flares, like, oh snap, what's going on? So I think there's a bit of that. And to be fair, look, I hope our boys keep being daring and taking these chances, because hopefully that's what will decide these big games. So, as a great man said, he who dares wins. So hopefully, respected Del Trotter, hopefully that is the case. And I hope we are the ones that have the bigger heart and hopefully win the game tomorrow as well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a quick mention then. So the other semi-final, the other 2 teams that make up the rest of the semi-final is Spain against France. Arguably, probably the 2 most exciting teams. Well, Spain, probably the most exciting team in the tournament so far. And I'd argue that Germany was second. France haven't looked great. If I'm not mistaken, they still haven't scored from open play. Obviously, Mbappe's injury hasn't helped them. Although Mbappe is playing, there's always a hindrance when you have to play with a mask. So that Spain v France game is being played tonight. But back to the Netherlands-England game tomorrow. It should be exciting. I remember being a young kid watching the Euro 96 game between the Netherlands and England then at Wembley. I was absolutely shocked with the way England played. To this day, I'd probably say it's still the best performance I've ever seen of an England team. Correct me if I'm wrong. Leave a comments in the video and let us know. But that was a fantastic game, and obviously Shearer, Sheringham. I think that Manaman was playing that game as well. It was a really, really good occasion, and many people do hope that the game tomorrow does live up to that kind of expectation. And what I've done here is taken the predicted starting 11 anyway for the match tomorrow. This is courtesy of SofaScore, and SofaScore at least seem to think that Gareth Southgate is going to be sticking to that change of formation that he made during the Switzerland game, sticking to a 3-4-3 formation. Now, looking at the formation for England, Ley, as you can see there, Bukayo Saka has been placed in kind of like a right wing back role, in the same way he was used in the last game. He did switch positions on many occasions during the match and played his part in helping England go through to the next round. What are your thoughts on the fact that Bukayo Saka, and from the image at least, it looks like SofaScore believe that Luke Shaw will be starting that game. Kieran Trippier started on the left-hand side. What are your thoughts on inverted fullbacks? Because it's not something you see regularly. Normally in this formation, you'll get the fullback who's right-footed play on the right wing, the one who's left-footed play on the left wing. What were your thoughts on this exactly, and whether this is going to help Southgate, you think?
I think, I mean, I hate going back over the same old issue, but he shot himself in the foot with the selection.
Squad selection, you mean, or the
with the squad he took to the tournament.
Okay, go on.
And unfortunately, I never thought I would see the day where we're talking about should Saka be at left back? No. Look, and we're past that now. Now I'll be honest. If Saka had to play in goal and it meant we were gonna win, then fair enough. But we should never be in this position.
Exactly.
That said, I think Saka at right wing back, it's not the end of the world. He's quite effective, bless him. Some players unfortunately might have even made a fuss of things, like, with all due respect, even Ivan Toney, for example, with the interview saying he wasn't happy when he came on against who was it we were playing? Slovenia, I believe. Slovakia. So was it Slovakia?
It was the round of
16. My apologies. Yes, Slovakia. Now, of course, naturally you wouldn't be happy. I get that, but no one needs to know that right now. Let's play this tournament all the way out. So credit to Saka. He'll play where they put him. My issue is if he's being sacrificed somewhat out of position, everyone else has to pull their weight. Which is kind of a segue into something that's been on my mind with Harry Kane, for example. Like you said, I never thought we'll see the day where he's even ever questioned for England. And perhaps maybe if the system suited him a bit more, he might, just carry on doing what he does best for us, which is score goals. But unfortunately, we're in a situation now where if Saka has to play out of position somewhat, everyone else has to give 110%. Like, if Foden is not the man for the job, drop him. If Foden is not the man to get the best out of Harry Kane, drop him. Like, now is not the time for emotions or to be nice. We're in semi-finals of the Euros. You and I had we've spoken for ages ever since we got knocked out by Italy. It's something that really stuck with us because in my lifetime of yours, I don't think I've seen England get to a final before. So this is a big chance. And I think if everyone pulls their weight, we get the right players in the right position, sky's the limit.
I think the Harry Kane thing, apart from the fact that the whole team isn't playing well, so that doesn't help Kane. I think looking at the formation, 3-4-3, wing backs, attacking mids, it looks like an expansive, like a wide formation, as in they cover the pitch. But when you look at it, when you look at the detail here, we've got Saka, who's going to have to cut in. Luke Shaw, okay, fine, is on the left-hand side. Assuming Trippier gets the nod ahead of him, Trippier will continually cut in. Bellingham, according to the graphic, will be playing on the left-hand side of the attacking mid, having to cut in as well. Foden the same. And all of that just congests that middle of the field. That the D part of the penalty spot, I've noticed, is just clustered of players. And I see Harry Kane moving away from the area, either slightly on the wing or dropping back. to be able to try and, if not create a space for himself, then create for others. And I think, me personally speaking, I think that's why the Harry Kane thing isn't working, just because of the imbalance in the team we've been talking about from the very beginning. It's very, very narrow, despite a quite wide-looking formation. And I think that's where the Harry Kane thing kind of doesn't work. And to an extent, why people suggest someone like Ivan Toney or even Ollie Watkins, because they offer something different.
Movement,
Watkins in particular, we can run off the shoulder of the defender. Ivan Toney will be able to hold the ball and head the ball. Yes, Kane can do that, but he's not been doing that for whatever reason. There have been calls to say that maybe Harry Kane isn't fit. He's not looking himself.
He looked better in the last game than he's looked all
better, but he's not at his best. And this is when he should. This is when he has to peak now. Tomorrow is when he has to peak. And there was even a point during the Switzerland game, and it was so obvious that it had to be deliberate. It had to be something that Southgate had said to them. But Jude Bellingham was playing as a striker, and Harry Kane was behind him for a good 10-15 minutes, to the point where Harry Kane was making tackles in his own penalty area, defending, which I mean is great, and he's obviously a huge asset when it comes to defending set pieces in the box. But he was there during open play, and it just, again, the word imbalance just keeps coming up over and over again. And me personally speaking, that's why I think Harry Kane hasn't worked. But saying that, the Netherlands have done fantastically well to get to the semi-final. In all the previews and the reviews and the magazines and the TalkSport and all these places, I hadn't heard anyone putting the Netherlands in the top 4, let alone the quarterfinals. They've done very, very well. You could say almost like an underdog effect. They've got players like Cody Gakpo, Xavi Simons, Malen, who's been playing brilliantly well this tournament. In particular, Reinders on the left-hand side as well has had a very good tournament. Again, they've had criticism from home because they haven't played that free-flowing football, haven't been comfortable in their wins. But we're looking at that starting 11. Do you see any weakness or anything that England can take advantage of when playing the Dutch tomorrow?
Honestly, one thing I have to actually just mention. I have to say this. In as much as the Dutch fans have said, we're not the best, we're not playing well. One thing I have to say is they've been very happy to support their team all tournament.
They've looked great in Germany.
Yeah,
the fan support has looked amazing.
Even here, there's not a house I go past without the Dutch flag out. Like, it's a very festive atmosphere. So I respect that as well. In as much as equally they know, they're like, we're not the best, but so I have to say it's fair play to them. They definitely, the fans are 100% behind their team. But then, in regards to weaknesses, honestly, I think we actually need to be wary of their fullbacks. It's something we really need to, and maybe that's why it's maybe thought, let me just win the game by the midfield, because those wing backs are going to be on us all day. The goal they scored against Turkey, I felt so jealous watching that goal. I remember thinking, when last did I see a centre-back from England just pop up, bang, just head it into the net the way, was it Stefan the Vrij?
The Vrij,
Yeah, brilliant goal, So, in terms of their weaknesses, I'll be honest, I just think if we're more daring, more courageous, we win the game. But if we try to play smart and try and be slick, and they realize or smell fear on us, I think it will be a terrible night. So we need to be courageous, push forward. We can't sit back or try. No. They've got enough players that could unlock any defense. And like I said, their wing backs are going to be on us all day. So, if we can break through and play our game, then we it's coming home. And if not, I didn't say when it's coming home. So, we'll see. But come on, England.
One thing that maybe the Dutch might do against England, and just because he played so well in the last match against Turkey, is introducing Mickey van der Ven, possibly playing in Nathan Ake's position. Obviously, we all know about his speed, and when you got players like Foden, Saka, and Walker coming at you, that speed would be invaluable. So, I mean, I wouldn't put it past the management to have Mickey van der Ven there, because he has been playing well when he has made his appearances. So, Let's do our predictions then, Lay. So England versus Netherlands. Assuming this is not going to go to penalties, what's the final score going to be?
I say 2-1 England. 2-1 England. Yeah.
Goal scorers.
Goal scorers Harry Kane twice.
I'd say, and I don't even know why I'm saying this because there's no proof to justify this. I'd say 3-0 England. Saka hat trick.
Man.
No,
Amen.
I think England will do it. There was just something that I noticed with Holland, with Netherlands against Turkey, that I was just thought, you know what, if England put it to them, if they actually play their best and put it to them, England will come out on top. They definitely will come on top. Before we wrap up the podcast, just one more thing I wanted to mention. Obviously, Portugal and France was the other semi-final. Special mention for Cristiano Ronaldo and Pepe. Cristiano Ronaldo has made 30 appearances in Europe, in the European Championships, and Pepe with 23 appearances in European Championships, which is the record holders. They are the record holders for most appearances in the Championships. Just for context, Neuer is 20 appearances, João Moutinho 19, and Toni Kroos with 19. Quick word on Ronaldo. I know we spoke about him before in the last one. Out of the tournament, I'm sure he would have wanted to try and make his name and try and win something before his retirement. With Portugal again. He says today that he's going to be ready for the World Cup 2026.
Oh, yeah?
Remains to be seen. Ronaldo, quickly retire now or just carry on scoring goals in Saudi? What do you think?
Honestly,
he apparently wants to stay or stick around so that he can play with his son. His son is currently 14, so he needs to wait at least 2 years minimum.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, look, he's at the stage where, in terms of he's club level at Saudi, in the Saudi league, he can call his own shots, and that's because of the work he's put in at the highest level. I've been a Ronaldo hater. I've seen him grow up. I remember when Ronaldo was Saka. How people. I remember clearly. I remember he couldn't cross. His step overs were garbage. His haircut. I don't know what the hell was going on there. But credit to the kid. So I've seen him grow as a man. And if you told me in my lifetime that Cristiano Ronaldo will be the record goal scorer for Real Madrid, the greatest club ever, So credit where credit's due. He's called his shots. The problem is, in terms of the 2026 World Cup, to answer your question, honestly, a coach with a real ruthless streak would drop him and say, look, it's over. But there's more to it. He's a national icon. He's, sometimes I would, honestly, if I was the coach, I would either drop him or I'm keeping him in the squad. He's just not a starter. Yeah. And he's not my captain. That's how you handle it.
I agree with you. I think they need to look for a new striker. Let someone else take the reign.
Indeed.
Pick Ronaldo if you want. Put him on the bench. He's always going to be useful. And bring him on. Bring him on when you can.
Yeah, indeed. Unfortunately, no one's had the ruthless streak to actually make that happen. There's only one man I think would do that, and that's Jose Mourinho. Straight. Let's cut to the bone here. But look, I like I said, I used to be a Ronaldo hater, but I saw him play live a few times, and I remember thinking, "Oh my God, who is this?" I didn't even realize it was him. And everyone was booing him at the Emirates, and I stood up to applaud. I was like, "No, you." Unfortunately, I say you know what it's like watching players live. Let's be honest. People have opinions on the behind the scenes. They watch it on the TV. You've played football and you've watched many great footballers live. There's a level to it. So he's a great player. It's just unfortunate that, he doesn't see that time has caught up. And unfortunately, the coach or whoever's the coach doesn't understand that this is a call that has to be made sooner than later.
Yeah.
So,
or he's seen it and is in denial. Who knows? But he's not going to stop. By the sounds of it, he's not going to stop until he has a game with his son. So.
What you mean for Portugal or club level?
I don't know. He says, I assume club level. I don't think.
I hope it's club level. Yeah,
I don't think they're going to take pity on his son and pick him at 16 just because
he's
someone's son.
That would make a more.
I could probably see them both playing for Al Nassr at some point in 2027, 26. But who knows? Late. Before we wrap up, one more thing: Portugal v France. What's the score going to be?
You mean Spain v
Spain
France?
v France. My bad.
Um, well, if France can score a goal in open play, then I would say one goal for France, and I would say three for Spain. I would say 3-1 Spain.
Yeah, I have something similar. I think Spain have just been the standout team. Really, they really have been the best team in the tournament. So the
Indeed.
next two games going to be very interesting. Yeah, I've got Spain to go through. So Spain v England final. Hey, looking forward to that preview day this week.
And like I said, I've got naught against the Dutch personally. They just got to go, and I'll do whatever it takes to make that happen. Come on, England.
Ley, thank you so much for joining me and giving me your input and your opinions on the game. Thank you so much, those of you listening and watching to the show. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and support the channel by going to our website, SoccerSanchez.com. And if you have any ideas or a subject that you'd like us to touch on, please let me know, and we'll see what we can do for you. In the meantime, Ley, as always, thank you so much. You are home. Thank you so much as well for listening. You take care. Have a good one. Enjoy the games. It's been emotional. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Hey, man, oh, you can edit that part out, man. But I had to say it.
I'm leaving it.
I had to get off my chest.